In my class, there are 33 students. There are 33 students. Few students are just daydreaming. They just take out the compost box and keep on building something using sharpener, pencil, something they are doing. So when after shouting also they don't listen. They just build their own things also. Like sharpener, then eraser, then the pencil, they put pencil, they just start hammering the things. Few students are like that. Actually, we support their own students.
Okay, any more? Any more things
This
in
is
your head? Any more questions you have in your head? In your mind?
Ma'am, I want to say actually what I've observed in my nephew. He'll be 5 in a month. So where he actually cuddles with such an intensity whoever he wants to, that sometimes people feel that it is aggression, but we as family know that he's expressing his love. But to his mother, to his grandfather, to me, I am his bua. So for us, it is okay. But now he started doing with his classmates, which is not okay with them. So we can't explain it to every parent, also the other parents. So I feel something we can channel his way of expressing, but he's too small to be, you know, trained like that. So that is one thing I think we need to work on.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear from others as well. Please come on the screen. Yeah. Yes, Nabila.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So quickly introduce yourself, everyone, and then we can begin with our session. And I would like to hear in short the obstacles, the challenges if you're teaching kids. In short.
Yes, ma'am. Now I'm teaching like pre-KG, LKG, kindergarten. Nowadays, it was very challenging to teach kids. I want to have about new technologies and art and therapy, ma'am. That's why I did this.
Okay. Next. Please quickly introduce yourself so that I can begin the session.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself Radha. I'm from Andhra Pradesh and I'm a homemaker actually. I took class from the JollyPhonics, and now I found this art and play little interesting, so I joined this.
Great. Great. Others? Renu, Nish, Neelam, Soumya, please come on the screen. Let's have a quick introduction before we just jump in the session. Yes, Neelam.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I am fine. Myself, Neelam. I am homemaker. I joined recently Shweta ma'am class. So I inspired that and I also joined for this class for knowledge, my increase.
Great. Okay. I think rest of the people are not comfortable coming on the screen. No problem. No worries. Let's start with our session. And before I really want this session to be engaging, interactive. So I would request everyone to kindly participate. Otherwise, you will not absorb the content at all. If you don't actively participate, then this session will be of no use for you all. So it's better we should get engaged as much as possible for the session. And so, to begin with, I want you all to close your eyes for 2 minutes or just think for a while about your childhood memories. And you have to tell me one such memory where you were playing, okay, whatever it was, or maybe any kind of art where you were interested in. So just to recall those memories, and can you just share your experience, what you remember? Maybe it was any kind of game you were playing, or any kind of drawing, any kind of art form, whatever it is. So just share your experience. Let me know once anybody is ready to share. Okay, now let us reflect. Let us try to feel any kind of connection you can make with the hobby you have and your personality. Can you have some connection? Can you think of some connection reflecting your personality through whatever you described? Anybody?
Ma'am, maybe I was away from colors, so maybe that's why I am little I'm not introvert, but I'm little selective in
Well,
interacting with
well,
people.
how many of you think you are an introvert person? How many of you think you are an introvert person? Please raise your hand very strongly, because being an introvert is a strength and not a weakness. So if you're an introvert, raise your hand. How many of you think you are an introvert person?
Ma'am, I would to like just share that not in a class where I give a storytelling session, but yes, outside for the first time, it like takes me time. So I don't know where to describe an introvert or
Good question. Good question.
yeah.
Now, how would you decide whether you are an introvert or an extrovert? So, do you enjoy your me time more, or you enjoy more with public and of course strangers? Yeah. If you're comfortable with strangers, then you are an extrovert person. Yeah. But if you're more comfortable within your own known circle, then you are an introvert person. Now, answer, how many of you think you are an introvert person? Majority?
Ma'am, I'm still not able to decide because what happens is when I'm talking about a topic that I'm very aware of, or I'm very confident about, I can talk to n number of
No,
people.
it's not about talking. It's
Okay.
about feeling calm and peaceful, feeling happy, being surrounded with strangers, with a lot of people, always being excited to get to meet new people. Or rather, if you're upset and at that moment you don't want to go out and stay inside.
I'm introvert for sure.
Yeah. So, and most of you have talked about drawings. Yeah. Most of you. So that's a sign that most of the introverts, they do not describe what they feel by words, but by drawing. Okay. Now, when we talk about play and art, we need to understand that every child is different, and we cannot have the same thing and expecting the same results from all the students. Okay. Not everybody would enjoy dancing, and not everybody would enjoy drawing. Yeah. So we all know why you have joined this session. We all know what is play and what is art. And we all know that, of course, they are stress busters. Even for us, for adults, we, we, we pursue our hobbies because we know that these are stress busters. Why we are here in the session? To know that what is going to work for which kind of students. Okay. Not everybody needs the same hobby, okay, needs the same rather because in this session we are talking about therapies, so the therapy won't work. The same therapy won't work for each and every child. We need to understand the personality of the child. Okay, we hear a lot about ADHD these days. We hear a lot about autism. We hear a lot about so many disorders, intellectual disorders. Okay, but we need to understand that not every remedy or every therapy will work for each and every child. Okay, but to be able to understand that, first you need to understand yourself. Okay, so you have to just think, you have to reflect on your own personality. See, we all are busy and we hardly get time. But can you just for a minute think after doing what you can reduce your anxieties and your stress? What do you think? What makes you feel better when you are in stress or when you are in anxiety? What makes you feel better?
Music.
Ma'am, I
Yes,
draw mandala art when I feel anxiety.
mandala. Okay. Now, I'll just ask randomly, as per my knowledge. So, music is for emotional people. So, Asta, do you think you are an emotional person?
I'm a hardcore emotional person.
Okay. Mandala is a therapy for people who are more towards perfection and um, having things in control. Is that true, Nanika?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Nabila, what
yes, ma'am.
makes you stress free? What See, sometimes we don't know that we are doing something to reduce our stress, but automatically when we do that, we feel better. For example, decluttering. Nobody wants to do the household chores, but of course, when you do
Yes, ma'am.
decluttering, you feel better. So, what makes you feel better? You can just recall when did the last time you came out of some kind of stress or pressure or anxiety. Yes, Soumya, Neelam, Nabila,
Clean the house.
cleaning the house.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Again, it's a sign that you look for perfection. Okay, yes,
No, I want to show some anger, so I cannot show on anybody. So I just pull everything and I just clean. I do all household works.
yes. So why that aggression? So you have to go to deep down the reason behind getting
There
angry.
is a reason. I have 1.5-year-old baby, so I'm the alone person taking care of her. So it is a kind of depression. You can keep it, and that is the reason I was on
See,
mute
you
because
have
she's
to go
sleeping now.
you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper till you get the right answer. Why depression? Why this? It's not just because you are having a 1.5-year-old kid. It's because somewhere you have your own set of standards and you want to meet those expectations. So that is again, you're seeking for perfection, that this must be there. And when the things don't work as per your plan, that makes you aggressive.
Yes, yes,
And then
right.
decluttering helps you to come out of that idea. Yeah. Or maybe it is a kind of want for controlling something. And when you do put everything in control, you feel better. Yes. Okay. Yes, Nabila.
Yes, ma'am. When I had stress times, that time I want to change my mind. That's why I moved somewhere. I have to travel somewhere.
Travel.
Like, yes, ma'am. Like,
Okay.
like I will go to theater or park with my family. That's why I have to change my mind.
So that's a different thing. You're not trying to, maybe you're trying to reduce your stress, but
Yes,
that won't happen. because you are just distracting your mind from the actual problem. So that is
Okay.
not going to give you the desired result. But when you work on your hobbies, then only you feel better. You can distract your mind for a while by shifting to a new environment.
Yes.
Yeah. If you are going only to one place, then it is your hobby. But as you said, that sometimes you go to watch movies, sometimes go to nature, then that thing is not helping you. But I think that is only distracting you for some time. Okay.
Okay.
It is only you who can reflect on this, that whether you are actually enjoying the travel part or it is just to come out of that thing. Yeah. Because if travel is your hobby, then you will not wait for any such situation to happen. You will always have
I want to just relax to mindset. Then I have to decide what what will I do for uh, to the so, to solve the solution, solve the problem.
yes. So I think meditation is a better choice, is a better thing to have self reflection, and you can put your thoughts in words by journaling. Okay. Because if you don't reflect on the actual problem, you will come back to that same point again. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Radha, Nish, Renu.
By talking to someone,
Okay.
like a very dear friend, or if any elder person, so sometimes for advice or
Yes.
playing with kids.
Yes. So it is looking for validation. Yeah.
Mm.
That shows that you don't have much confidence in yourself, and you are
Okay.
looking for validation. When you are trying to talk it out, you are
Mm.
just seeking for validation from someone to feel better. Okay,
Okay.
so in that case, again, self talk would help you more towards making, towards being more confident. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Renu, would you like to share
Hi,
something?
Shweta.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
in a long time.
Years and years. So now we have moved to, we are
Yeah.
not in Malaysia anymore. Now we have moved to Nigeria. We are in Lagos now.
Okay, how are your
Yeah.
funny classes going?
Yeah, very fine.
Well, so let me introduce everyone. She's also an accredited trainer. She's based in Malaysia and now she's in Nigeria, as she just now told.
So to me, that will be like having friends over or maybe going to the beach, yoga, meditation, and taking hot shower as well as talking to friends is one of them, and then maybe Netflix can be one of them, and what else? Like a lot of things, and eating good food, like eating our whatever suits you. Like my food is like a lot of options, a lot of things are there. So and then like talking to your kids, going out, going down for a walk, even though we can't go out for a walk here, but still, yeah, like a bit, a little bit. And yeah, that's it.
I think you are an extrovert person.
Me?
Yeah.
Actually, it depends upon the what kind of group I am in. Like, if like I know the people and I know them and we have a certain topic as in which I am interested in, for example, art and craft. Okay, let's go out to the Lakey Art and Craft Market and we can shop from there. What to shop, what to buy. Yes, I can definitely talk on that topic. I can guide them. But if like it's not my area of interest, then I just keep quiet. I just keep mum in that.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
depends.
you didn't mention this earlier.
Yeah.
So anybody who is interested in art form is an introvert for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So then you are an introvert for sure. Because an extrovert person doesn't have the patience, and art needs a lot of patience. Yeah. Okay, so is there anyone else left? Okay, so what do you think about this play therapy and art therapy? What do you think? How is it going to help children?
I feel it will be very helpful to the mostly to the hyperactive kids.
Engaging the child.
See, why I was so much interested to do this, because when I go to schools for training teachers, I have met teachers and they literally have headaches to handle the class, you know? And then I thought, what works? We always talk about having a multisensory approach of teaching where the kids are engaged, and that's how they are going to learn more and the class can be settled. But then I realized that everything doesn't work for everyone. Yeah, as I told you just now also. So everything doesn't actually work for everyone. So we need to understand that what all things will work for which all age group. Sorry, which all kind of personalities of children, right? So we are talking a lot about ADHD. So what do you think? What is ADHD? What do you think? What is an ADHD?
Hyperactive child.
Okay. What more?
Students in my class, he used to shout again and again. He was not able to sit at one place. I
See,
talked to him. He was not
what
able to handle.
what are the common classroom behaviors? Yes, they are restless. They can't sit still. Okay. They'll blurt out answers. They'll not complete their work. Okay. So the first thing is they are restless and they can't sit still. So actually, they need more attention and they have a lot of energy. Okay. So we need to channelize that energy. And to do that, we need to have aggressive play form. Okay. He won't be settled by any kind of art, as I told you. है ना? Art needs a lot of patience. So if you think you have an ADHD child and you make him sit to do coloring, it won't work. How many of you have faced such children who don't like coloring at all? Or they would do it for some time, but they won't sit for a long time.
I am one of such person.
Yes? So as I told you, that everything cannot work for everyone. So if you think you can give coloring and the class will be quiet, then the children who are not, who don't have patience will not be able to do that. Yeah. Now we have heard a lot about autism. What is autism? A few common classroom behaviors you can see. See, a high spectrum autism child will definitely not be in the classroom, but with a mild autism, you may have some children with very mild autism in your class. So, the very common classroom behaviors are like social isolation, they will not maintain eye contact, they will have repetitive behaviors, and they will follow a rigid routine. That's the common classroom behaviors you will see in the children who have mild autism, and they are not at all like ADHD. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion. People think ADHD and autism fall in the same category and we can use the same therapies for those children. No, not at all. Okay, because ADHD is kind of an extrovert, whereas autism is they will be highly introvert. They are socially isolated, completely socially isolated. So what will
Ma'am,
work? Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Like, what age group can we detect this? Like, my sister's son is now just completing 3 years, but
Okay.
he doesn't sit in the classroom. He runs and he likes to touch everything. He sits like for 15 minutes or max 10 minutes, and then he wants to roam. So teachers have to hold him and make him do something, and then again he will roam. So
Okay.
now he just completed 3 years. So I'm confused for that. So just asking
See,
you, ma'am.
any of the disorder would
Hmm.
be from the beginning. Okay. So
Okay.
if he is actually the only one who is troubling so much to the teacher, then definitely he falls somewhere in ADHD. Okay, not
Okay.
maybe so aggressive kind of, but a mild symptom it can be and can be gradually. See, ADHD is nothing. It's just having lot of energy inside. It's nothing else. It's just you're full of energy and you need a lot of activities to divert your physical energy into something. So it's about physical energy. So you need to have the child maybe do a lot of sports activities.
Okay.
Okay, running around, jumping. Okay. Whereas, as I am talking about the autism, so those children would like music, a soft kind of music, some kind of art and craft, and they are very close to nature. So, any nature walk, or if you have some animal toys, they are fond of toys. They are fond of similar kind of toys, maybe cars, maybe jeeps, maybe animals. So, you can have a group of ADHD children together racing, running, jumping, but you cannot deal with autism children altogether. They need one on one because they don't like to be socialized. So you need to understand that which thing is going to work for whom. Okay. Now we have children having conduct disorder. Okay. What is that? Conduct disorder. These children will have a negative mindset. Okay. Rule breaking. Okay. Fighting, aggression. Yeah. What do you think? What can work for them? How can you change their negative thought pattern to positive thought pattern? Of course, you need to teach them empathy, rules, and have a good social bonding, controlling the risk taking. What things you can have for them? We can have drama classes. Okay. You can have role plays. Okay. You can play board games with them because board games have rules to follow. And you can have some kind of adventure or team tasks where you make them the group leader and they have to control, they have to make the rules, they have to make others follow the rules. Okay. So don't get confused between ADHD and conduct disorder. Okay, an ADHD child is not having a negative thought pattern, whereas a conduct disorder has a negative thought pattern. Okay, so you can gradually shift his negative thought pattern to the positive part by teaching him empathy, by doing some role plays, storytelling, giving them the roles, drama, okay, or as I told you, board games. Yeah. Then there are children who have a lot of anxiety. And I think most of us also have the same. So it is something which is not only with children. Okay. So what kind of people, what kind of personalities they have this anxieties, phobias? They're mostly shy, and especially for the children, if you talk about the children who cry a lot, who will have stomach ache every now and then, okay, who will not come forward to participate, and they are always fearful. Okay. So what do we want? We want them to build confidence. Yeah. And we want them to have to express themselves. Yeah. So for them, art form is good, drawing is good, storytelling. With storytelling, we can have a story where we create such a scene where a person is overcoming a fear and whatever he was going through, he achieves his goal by overcoming that fear. So that can be a role play again, using puppets maybe. Then for adults, it can be through yoga and any kind of mindfulness activities, and even gardening. Nature teaches you a lot. When do you think you get anxious? What makes you feel anxious? It is something we all face. What gives you that anxiety? What do you think? Yes? Whatever comes to your mind, please share. What do you think? What makes anybody anxious?
In my case, I feel anxious when I'm not able to meet my deadlines. Like if I've set some things to do list for myself or some targets, even if it is for the day, I'm not able to meet it for some reason which is not in my control, I'll feel anxious. And if something which was in my control and I couldn't do it, I'll feel double anxious.
Yeah, so when you do gardening, nature teaches you that sometimes you have to keep patience. You cannot have the instant results. Like if you sow a seed, it won't turn up into a plant at the same moment. You will have to sit for hours, for days, and for months to get the results. So that teaches you having patience. Yeah, so it definitely helps for to come up with anxieties. Okay. Now, some children, they go through depression. Yeah, the reason can be many. Okay. How do you, how do you differentiate what is a sadness and what is a depression? What is sadness and what is depression? How do you differentiate between the two? Nowadays, this word is used very frequently, whereas people don't even understand if it is really a depression or not.
So anxiety will be when the brain is alarmed, like it can be kind of stress, temporary stress, or anything like when any work is not completed. But depression can be longer, and it can be like neurological also, and it can go for a longer period of time, and you are like, you can keep yourself isolated, you don't feel like talking, and there can be numerous reason like which goes behind our brain, and yeah.
So,
I feel
yes.
I feel sadness is more like a state of mind, and depression can be an illness. So a prolonged sadness, a sadness which is like there. Generally, we are sad for a while, then we do something that what we were talking. Like for me, music. But even after the music, if my sadness is not gone, my anxiety is not reduced, and it's go on, persistent, then it might be termed as depression.
Yeah, so depression is not something temporary. It's a prolonged sadness, of course. So minimum of 6 months. Minimum of 6 months. Then only you can say that you are in depression. If for minimum 6 months you don't feel uh, energized, you don't feel take interest in anything, you have a poor concentration, you have no interest, you withdraw yourself, you feel fatigue for at least 6 months, then we call it a depression. Yeah. And for that we can again use greenery, so that a gardening part, we can have music will help for sure, art and craft. And then we can have group play where we can I will discuss the cases also, so where we can give a topic, we can keep the topic. If you already know the reason behind the depression, you can have a role enactment where you talk about that. For example, if a child is depressed because he lost any of his dear one, or maybe his parents got divorced, there could be any reason, or there could be so many reasons. So in that case, having stories and role plays will, where you will talk about all those therapies, where the child himself can narrate the story or he can create a story, and through that story which is creating, he can overcome the depression. Yeah. So see, there's so much of difference now. We can, I hope you all can correlate now. What we were doing earlier, we were giving the same thing in the classroom to each and every child without knowing whether he needs it or not, whether it's going to work for him or not. Okay. Few things are there which will work for most of the kids. Like when we talk about any kind of learning disability, like dyslexia or dyscalculia, where the child shows poor academic performance. So he will be frustrated because he is not getting good results. And then he would avoid the task which we give him. So for them, we use educational toys, storytelling, creative art with academics. You all have done phonics, so we use stories, rhymes, actions. So that helps a child with learning disability and is equally beneficial to each and every child because that is a multisensory way of learning. So that reduces the fear of failure and he is engaged more. So definitely learning is more. So there is no harm in applying the same thing to a normal child also, and it helps the children with learning disability. So these things are something which you can make each and everyone do. But as we have now talked about so many personalities, so not everything will work for everyone. Okay. Now, what is the difference between depression and trauma? Will you call depression a trauma or there's a difference?
But
Trauma
I
means some
think
sudden attack.
trauma will cause depression. Trauma can be a childhood thing, and depression, मतलब something if we have faced in childhood and it still stays with us in the mind, that leads to depression.
Anybody else? Having nightmares, okay? And sudden outburst, sudden aggression, sudden withdrawal. That shows that the child might have some trauma. And trauma is always about something happened in past and which is affecting every now and then. So it can be like where the child goes into depression and then he tries to survive, he comes up from that, but at a regular interval, whenever that kind of situation reappears, that brings trauma to the child. Yeah. So it is a sudden outburst. Depression is not a sudden outburst. Depression is a same state of mind throughout, whereas here it is sudden outburst, nightmares, aggression. Yeah. So here
And panic attack the same. Nowadays, people are saying I'm getting a panic attack. Is it same for trauma?
again, panic attack would not be called as trauma because panic attacks come for different reasons, whereas trauma is through only one incident happened earlier. Yeah. You get a panic attack sometimes when you are suddenly called for an interview. Okay. And the next time you have a panic attack, the reason would be something different. Yeah. But trauma is something you have faced, a very, um, I would say, some really mishappening. Yeah. So how you can help those children through art? Yes. If the child is interested in art, again, I'm saying if the child is interested, you cannot force art to everyone. Yeah. Play therapy would work. Now, how play therapy would work, I'll just give you some examples. We can have sand plays, we can have doll plays. Okay. Uh, so when you give sand, okay, when you give sand to a child for sand play, you give miniatures. It can be animals, it can be people. So when you give the miniatures and he start playing with that, he, if you observe what he would do, he would try to recreate the same story, the same story, the same story, the same story. And suddenly, and by doing it every single day, he would be able to come out of that. For example, a child who has a trauma of having seen a house fire, and he's playing with Legos, he would try to build that, building. Okay. Sometimes the children, they play with aeroplanes, or they play with those miniatures animals, they hide them, they have something in their mind and they try to recreate. So as a teacher, if you sit and just try to read out through what they are doing, you would be able to identify that there can be some unexpressed emotions. I'm not talking about all the children. Of course, if you give sand and toys to children, they all will play. But a child who is uh, not taking interest in anything, and if you give sand and toys or colors, and he starts doing something, you can predict something out of it. You can observe, and you know. So, what you have to do then? Okay, you will think now, what is my role? So understand you have no role to play. You just have to allow the child to keep doing whatever he's doing with that sand, with those colors, whatever he's doing. You have to just allow him to do that, because it's actually a process of healing. He's just trying to heal himself through that. You can sit and you can just observe. Okay? You don't have to give any judgment. You don't have to teach him anything. Okay, if the child is silent, but when you give all these things and he starts playing or he starts doing whatever, so you can just try to observe and interpret. But again, your observations cannot be 100% true, and we don't have to. We just have to trust this process, which is definitely going to help the child. Yeah. Now, there are some children who are on mute mode. Have you observed those children? Have you ever met those children? They'll always be in a mute mode. We call it selective mutism, where they will be silent in class. Okay. The reason can be anything. They are fearful. They have anxiety only in group. Parents sometimes say that, I don't know why he isn't quiet in classroom. Just come and see at home." Have you ever heard that? Yeah. So again,
Yes.
it is
Yes.
just because of lack of confidence. Okay. And we generally push the child, "Why don't you speak? Why don't you speak? Why don't you speak?" And then we are making him even. Do you think it is going to help him to reduce his fear by asking him to speak all the time? Is it going to help the child?
I think it will push him more away.
Of course, but we do that. Why don't you speak at all? Because this child doesn't speak, I will give chance to this child. He has to speak. Now, what do you think? Will it work? See, no, it won't. So we have to give puppets, we have to do the role plays. That child would be more interesting for drawing and music, and then you can do the storytelling part with him. Okay. Some children, they will, as I told you earlier, also will always have this psychosomatic disorders, headache, okay, stomach ache, okay, without any medical cause. They will have frequent complaints. They will avoid schools. What is that? What do you think? Nothing but stress. And I would rather say this is happening more in adults. They don't know why it is happening, why the stomach is aching. Yeah, and have you ever heard that people go for a whole body checkup and find that there's nothing? The results show nothing, but even then they have this headache or stomach ache. It's nothing but stress, only stress stored in the body. And all we need to do is reconnect the body with the mind. And for them, yes, yoga, mindfulness activities, movement. Okay. Sometimes what happens in anxiety, we move, we roam around, we keep moving, and after that, we feel better. So sometimes just the body movement will help because that connects your body with the mind. Dance movements, again, art form, nature therapy. Yeah. And there's a lot of substance abuse in adolescence. There is a lot of stress created by peers. Have you heard that? Bullying? Yes. So what do you think? What is going to help them? Yes.
Yeah, maybe they can get the help of the school counselor, and teacher can have some activity in the classes, like which can be SEL, social emotional learning, and they can correlate, work on that, and involve the parent. Like it's very important that we involve the parent and we work in a partnership. So all
Yes.
these strategy we can apply in the classroom practice.
Having dramas, role plays frequent. Okay, because this is a very common thing happening in schools. So you don't need any incident to happen there and then you conduct these. It should be on regular intervals for the children. So who are the children who are creating this fuss? Conduct disorder children, right? So when we work on them, definitely positivity will come. Yeah. So we can have a quick revision that for ADHD, what will work? Let's have a quick revision for ADHD, adventure, games, music, dance, anything which has lot of energy. Okay? They have to burn their calories, actually burn their calories. So it's about physical engagement for ADHD. For autism, it is more, they are more, they need toys, animals, trucks,
Fidget
cars.
spinners,
Yes. Okay. And music and art. Yes.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. Yeah. Then conduct disorder. It can be a rule-based game. Okay. Then dramas, adventure, where they like they can go for trek. Okay. Then for anxiety and phobia, we can have art, of course, storytelling and mindfulness, yoga. Okay. So for yoga, for anxiety, yoga and mindfulness.
Ma'am,
Yes.
for anxiety, storytelling would be related to emotions.
First, see, anxiety comes with some thought process. Yeah, you have
Yes.
a fixed thought pattern which is giving you anxiety. Sometimes you are not confident about yourself. You'll always feel negative about yourself. Whatever happens, but you will always feel negative about yourself, and that creates a lot of anxiety. For an example, you have just dropped a WhatsApp message to somebody and there is no reply. You will get anxious.
Okay.
You will have self doubt. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So, how storytelling will help? Storytelling is actually the stories of, it would be the stories which teach us the value of our own self, of self love. Okay. And
Okay.
if you have fear or phobia for something, you can have the stories of some heroes who conquer. Okay. So,
Hmm.
you choose the story according to the need, and
Okay.
it will all come from by knowing the reason
Child.
behind that
Yeah.
anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, nowadays, if you all have heard about NLP, neuro
Hmm.
linguistic, yeah. So what is happening there? What they teach? They teach visualization. Okay. See, anxiety comes with overthinking. Okay. And
Yes.
if you are an overthinker, you are good at visualization because actually you are over visualizing a problem which is not a fact. You are just imagining a problem which is not a fact. Yeah. So if you can visualize something bad, can you not visualize something good? Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So through storytelling, we are actually giving a visual representation of something positive.
Mm.
Okay. So if you train your mind that whenever you get anxious, you start visualizing that something positive will happen. Okay, for an example, you have appeared for an interview, now you are having anxiety that, and you are having all the negative thoughts that I would not get this job. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Then
Okay, yes.
NLP teaches you to shift your mind from that negative to the positive picturization where you are selected. We give it so many names, positive
Mm.
affirmations, okay, visualization, okay, law of attraction. What is all
Mm.
that? It is storytelling. You are creating a story for yourself, a positive storytelling. Are you right?
Yes,
It is,
yes.
it is making you come out of that anxiety. So when teachers talk about storytelling, they really don't know why they are doing it and how is it going to help anyone. But now
Mm.
you know if you're doing it, why you're doing it, and who will be benefited. Storytelling is helping in most of the uh, order disorders which we have talked about, but everywhere the purpose is different.
Different, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Yes. And if the child is in, so for a story, for anxiety, storytelling, art, and mindfulness, yoga. For depression, music, art, nature. Okay. Sometimes, most of the times, we all say that we need a break. We go to explore nature. Yeah. So there is something in our unconscious mind. Okay. Outside, we are showing that we are all good. Yeah. We are feeling good. But of course, in our subconscious mind, there is something which we are covering. We are masking ourselves. There's something. So nature helps to connect ourselves with that, um, with our unconscious mind, and that's how we start feeling better when we, if you are a nature loving person, okay. Then comes learning disability. So for learning disability, the all the things which we are using in education, rest of the things when I talked about, are we teaching any subject there? No, we were not teaching any subject. Yeah. It was not about academics. It was not about any particular subject like English, Hindi, math, or something. But when we are talking about learning disability, here the purpose is academics. Here the purpose is academics. Others, we were not having the purpose of uh, um, making the child score better. Yeah. But here we are working on their academic part. So whatever as teachers we are doing, we are using flashcards, we are using props, we are using resources, we are doing the storytelling, we are using songs, rhymes, actions. So that all is for academics. Okay. So for creative methods, storytelling, plays. Okay. So now the aim is academics. So that is going to help each and everyone in the classroom. Okay. Then trauma, for trauma, we can use play, art, storytelling, movement. Then selective mutism, we can again have puppetry, drawing, music. Okay. And what else? It was, I guess, for bullying, we can have again drama. And now I'll show you some cases. Okay. Just a minute, I'll open the file. And this file I'm going to share with you all. Okay. This class is going to get a little extended. I hope that is okay with all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Um, is the screen visible to all?
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Okay, so whatever we have discussed, and there's a lot more. This is the index, so you can go through that. Okay. These are the topics which are there in this manual, which I'm going to share, but it is all theoretical. So I will just give this whole entire PDF, but we will.
Ma'am, we can only see the home screen. PDF, it is not visible.
Oh, what about now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these all are the topics in this manual which I'm going to give you. So this is a theoretical part. You can just read if you want, but we have actually covered most of them. Okay, so I will just go to the examples, which is going to make things clear, which all things which I have told you will be clear. Okay, so this is all about the historical overview, play and art therapy. Okay, I will directly go for the cases. So types of play, structured, unstructured, individual or group. Okay, these are the misconceptions. Is it just a play? Okay, then ethical, what we should take care of, integration with other therapies. It's just the theory part. Okay, what are the similarities? Okay, what are the differences? Okay, integration. Whatever is mentioned here, even if you don't read all that, that would be more clear with examples which we are going to do. Psychoanalytic. Okay, this I would like to just show you. So person-centered, non-directive. What is non-directive? When you don't get involved, let the child play. What I was telling you, you're not interrupting the child, but you are allowing him to do whatever he is doing. Okay, and then reflective listening, just listening to the child. Okay. And we have heard a lot about CBT and CBPT, cognitive behavior therapy, cognitive behavior play therapy. What is that? Cognitive behavior therapy means when you are working on the negative thought pattern, changing it into positive and then bringing it into the behavior. So if it is through any play, then we call it cognitive behavior play therapy. Okay. And if it is through art, we call it cognitive behavioral art therapy. So CBT has two types. First is play and second is art. Okay. So what actually it helps, it has the power of non-verbal expression, safe therapeutic space. Okay, the primacy of process over product means it is about the process and not the result. Doing the therapy when you are doing it, that process is going to heal you and not the result. Okay, so the process itself heals. Okay. Symbolizing, so like Asta was telling, she wants only black and white and not colors, so that shows her personality. She's not an extrovert person who would like bright colors, so she's an introvert person, so that is symbolism and metaphor. Okay. Regression for progression, when we behave like a child. Then we have cultural sensitivity, holistic healing is there. Now, what are the role of a therapist as a teacher? What you should take care, having the confidentiality, consent, sensitivity, okay, all those things, boundaries, all these things. Okay, what kind of setup you should have? It should be a safe space. Yeah. If it is a art class, then you should have the proper tools which you need. Okay, so it is all about the setup of your class and understanding the language of play. If it is a play, no, then there can be communication without even words, revealing their inner world. Okay, like transitional objects when you have blankets. Okay, so it's not always that you are doing a play for some for coming to the end, coming to the conclusion. As I told you, the process is healing. So a child who needs a blanket, okay, to overcome the stressful situation, and during the play you are giving that comfort through having that any plush animal or blanket, that is also giving comfort. Aggressive play, okay, where you can uh, have the unreleased rage or trauma from the past. Okay, repetitive play. So what happens, the child has some kind of trauma, he's crashing the car, crashing the car, crashing the car, crashing the car, crashing, repetitive. And with every repetition it is melting down. Okay, the child is mellowing down himself, and after a lot of repetitions the child will feel at last healed. Okay, so now somebody asked me about the age. So when it is about sensory motor plays, it is helpful. So not the all the things will not help to all the age groups. Sensory motor plays most of the times helps more children of 0 to 2 years. Symbolic play, like having a banana as a phone. Okay, using a banana as a phone. So that is for 2 to 4 years. When you have board games where you have rules, that works for 5 plus. So 5 plus means anybody. It can help adults as well. Okay. Then play themes and narratives, non-directive and directive. Non-directive where the child leads the play, and directive when you give a story and the child has to perform exactly the same. That is a directive play. Cultural play, gender roles, challenges. So we should avoid assumptions, you know, and we should see clarification. There should be a continuous learning. Okay. Child-centered. Now we have to give a positive regard. We should have empathy. Okay. Mm. If it is a play therapy, you should have all the required things like art supplies, dolls, building blocks. These things will help you. Okay. How you can build rapport, observation, reflection. How you should end your class. All this is mentioned here. Okay. Now from here, I will read the example part. Okay. So let us read the first example. A child dealing with aggression. Okay, so the therapist introduce a game where player takes turns. Okay, so here the child will learn patience and control because he has to wait for his turn. Okay, so when you have an aggressive child who needs to be taught patience, you can use this. Now I'm reading the example. Observing a 7-year-old Alex often lashes out during the class. What the therapist can do to have impulse control and emotional expression. What he can do? Stop and go kind of activity that they have to run, and when they hear the whistle, they have to stop. That is impulse control. Okay. Now, the next example for a session focused on grief. The room might contain dolls, a toy, a hospital set, and art supplies for expressing feelings. A grief where the child has lost someone dear one, and you give these things, the dolls and a toy, a hospital set, then it should be non-directive. You have to understand that you have no role to play. The child will pick up these instruments, he will create a story every time, he will create, play, but actually healing is happening. The child is actually trying to come out of that unfavorable incident happened. Okay. Again, Then we have for a role play activity about managing anger. The therapist might say, we are going to act out. Now, this is a directive play. If you have to manage anger and you tell the child that we are going to act out a story where someone gets very angry, let us see how we can help them calm down. So, you are telling the purpose of the story, which is very clear that what they are going to do, they are going to see how an angry person becomes calm. Okay. Then a guided play while playing a board game. If Mia starts to show signs of impatience, the therapist might prompt, what can we do when we have to wait for our turn? Okay, so playing board games with rules will have the child come up with more patience. Okay. Then we have an example after a puppet show. The therapist might ask, did the little puppet remind you of someone? So, generally, again, it is uh, a kind of brainstorming for the child where you are playing with the puppets. You know the reason why you are doing that. Maybe you want the child to come up with any sort of sadness or any sort of depression, and you're using puppets, and then you are asking the child, how do you feel? For example, if there's a girl who is always left out in the classroom, and you do purposely a puppet show and teach that how she can get involved with other classmates. So you showed that puppet show, and then you are reflecting, you are trying to ask question from her. What do you think? Did the little puppet remind you of someone you know? And then you are asking, okay, just a minute. Okay. Now, after a session on expressing feelings, a child might be asked to draw their emotions. So sometimes we can just ask the children to draw something. And for example, if I ask you all, those who are good at drawing, and if I ask you how you are feeling, just don't speak, but you draw something, and you all drop something which shows your enlightened mood. So that is a form where it's a non-verbal expression. Okay. Now coming to the sand play. A child who recently lost a pet might place a toy animal in a secluded spot in the sandbox, symbolizing isolation or grief. Again, you don't have to do anything. He's working on his own healing. You just have to allow him. What he is doing every time he is putting the toy um, he's hiding that toy in the sandbox, symbolizing isolation or grief. But doing it over the time, it's self healing would happen. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. So sometimes we just give the sandbox where they can create any word or story they want using those figures. Now here, look at the example. Sarah, she has dealt with parental separation, and she is placing two separate houses on opposite ends of the box, indicating a split family. So again, it is just expressed emotions coming out. So healing is happening. You don't have to do anything. Just allowing them to do that. Yeah. Of course, you can process the scene and then you can ask if the child is comfortable. Is that your family? Tell me about the figures you have placed. Why? But again, you have to see if the child is comfortable sharing. You cannot force. Okay. Again, there's a scene over time. A child who initially depicts chaotic scenes might start to show more organized, peaceful settings as therapy progresses. So you'll see the change. If it actual healing is happening, you will see the change that if the child was initially depicting chaotic scene and now after therapies, after having these sessions, he would start showing more organized and peaceful settings. So that would be your evaluation that whether the therapy has worked or not. Okay. So you can then conclude the session. When we are done talking about your creation, we'll smooth out the sand. So you have to give clear instructions. Whenever you are done, you let me know. We'll smooth out the sand, and we'll be ready for the next story. Okay. So okay. So this was about sand play. Now puppetry. So for example, a child who is too shy to voice personal concerns might use a puppet to express feeling of sadness or isolation. A therapy room with a puppet theater stage, a mirror, costume, visual hand puppets, and marionettes. This can be your setting where you can have puppet friends and you can ask the children to simply choose a puppet and tell a story. Okay, they can bring their own puppets also. When they tell the story or they create a story, they can sometimes um create a story about their unexpressed emotions. Like here, if you have a bunny puppet and a child who feels every time left out, you have a bunny puppet who feels the same. So if as a child I feel that I'm always left out, and then there is a story happening where bunny is always left out, will I not be able to connect with that bunny? Yes. So you can talk about, what do you think? How do you think the bunny felt? Have you ever felt that way? What could the bunny have done differently? Let's try that story. That was a wonderful story, even though it's me. So, through stories, you can change their thought process. Next time you feel like the bunny, what is something you could do? What have you learned from the story? Okay. So you should always know whatever you're doing, why you're doing. If you're doing a sand play, if you're doing a puppetry, if you're doing storytelling or bibliotherapy is what? Reading the story from a book. So you should know why you are doing and for which category of the children you are doing. Reading a story about a character facing bullying can help a child process their own feelings about a similar situation. Yeah. For a teenager dealing with identity issues, most of the teenagers, they go through a phase where they don't have confidence about their own identity. So they would not like your storybooks, but they would rather prefer having some novel about self-discovery. Yeah. Like this is a story about a young girl who, much like you, has moved to a new city and is trying to fit in. So children at teenage, if um, they move in to another place, that is a very difficult phase in their life. Okay. A child may prefer to listen to a story being read to them before bedtime in a therapy session, and then you can always reflect about the story. How did you feel when the main character faced that challenge? Does it remind you of something? Okay. So, a child, after reading about a character facing parental divorce, might create a story where the character finds solace in a magical forest. So, actually, we don't have to do anything. And in fact, it is just the child heals as he is able to accept the things as they are. Healing will happen because acceptance will come. If you think you can change circumstances, you are not doing the therapy. If you're trying to change, or if you're trying to manipulate, if you're trying to show something which is actually not the truth, then healing won't happen. Healing is only accepting the things, situations, people as they are. The more acceptance comes, the more acceptance will come as healing would happen. Okay.
So it's more like making them self-aware, ma'am.
Yes. And it is very natural process. Nobody has to push, just align. What we do is we don't allow them to do something. We start putting ourselves into it where we have to just sit and observe. We want to impose our own thoughts. We want to improve. We think that we have that experience that we can teach them. But actual healing happens with their own experience of accepting the things as they are. Because there's nothing right and nothing wrong. It's whatever has happened for whatever reason, you have to have the acceptance for that. Yeah. So when you do role plays, you can ask, what could the character have done differently? Can you think of any happier ending? Then they have the creative thinking where they can think of something positive out of any worst situation. Like a teenager might jot down personal reflections after each bibliotherapy session. Teenagers, they mostly have their own thought process, and for them, journaling helps a lot. Okay, and then you can always talk just like the character learned to talk about his feelings. Maybe you can try the same with your best friend. Okay. So now this is about board games. Now, board games are not for everyone. Board games are not at all for an emotional person. It's only for the logical persons who are structured. Yeah. So that is always going to help promote communication, cooperation, taking turns, developing the ability to handle frustration, winning and loss. Games can stimulate difficulties encountered in real life. So it's about making the child practical and not emotional. Board games will help you to be practical because you understand that not every time you're going to win. You may lose as well. So games teach you a lot. Playing sports teach you a lot. That's life lessons. So playing a game, whether indoor or outdoor sports, develops the spirit inside you of accepting. Again, it is acceptance whether you win or you lose. Okay. So identifying the appropriate game, having a good setup, explaining the rules, engaging in play, processing the experience, drawing parallels to real life, replaying, reinforcement. Okay. Now comes music, emotional release. Music will help, as I told you, for emotional expressions. Okay. Of course, music with rhythmic pattern helps you activate your brain. Those who have done my music and rhythm session, so it is more for concentration, memory. So music with rhythm helps you work on your concentration and memory because it activates the brain. Okay. And of course, social interaction, because when you enjoy music in a group, you dance. Okay. Now, for highly aggressive children or ADHD children, drum circles, where a lot of aggression is released. So, drum circles can be there. So, you need to understand which personality the child belongs to, and accordingly, you have to select the musical instruments as well. Yeah. So, this is all about play, role plays. Okay. So role plays are, as I told you, with a more moral value. We do the role play for a reason. What moral value we want to teach the child. Okay. These are some case studies. So I'll share this entire document which you can go through. Now these case study 1, case study 2 is the example. I'll just read 1 or 2 and then rest you can just read to evaluate and to absorb whatever we have done today. So here you can see Jake, a 6-year-old boy, watched a serious vehicle accident outside of his school, which was a painful experience for him. So what happened? Jake started to withdraw, started having nightmares, and got a fear of vehicles. Now, what was the therapeutic strategy? Jake was given access to sand-play treatment, which allowed him to recreate the accident scenario, and which time Jake took over the story, allowing for emotional release and a decrease in symptoms. And then he was able to process and get over his worries by experiencing and regulating the terrible incident in a secure environment. Okay. Then this is about addressing sibling rivalry with role play. So there are twins, 8-year-old Lucy and Lara were constantly arguing and competing. They constantly appeared to be vying for their parents' attention, which resulted in frequent disputes. So in the therapeutic session, they used role playing and puppetry to reflect their connection. The puppets worked together in scenarios that were guided by the therapist. So what was the outcome? The twins started displaying more cooperative behaviors at home and they came to appreciate the significance. So role plays basically, as I told you just now, storytelling role plays help direct where you have a directive approach. You know what moral value you're going to deliver through those stories. So these all are the case studies where art and play has helped the child, whether it is ADHD or autism, like here with a child who struggles with transitions, using a sand timer can visually prepare them for a change in activity. So, autism children need a strict time duration, strict pattern to follow. So, a sand timer can help a autism child. Whereas, if we talk about ADHD child, rhythm games, attention, Simon says, cultivating focus, then with physical ability disabilities, traumatic experience, cultural anxiety. So, there's example given for all of these categories. Okay. So I'll be sharing this with you all. I would like to hear from you all about today's session. What have you learned? Yes. How do you now take things, or what difference has come maybe after this session? If you talk about now doing any kind of play and art with children, what do you think? What things you will take care now? Yes, Renu?
So first of all, learned a lot.
Oh my God, that's great.
And then like it's like as you said that everybody's work differently. We all are unique individual in the world. So first it's very important that we identify what kind of kids we are dealing with, like whether they are ADHD, whether they like play based method, whether we are what method we are implementing in our classroom, as in we are implementing RegUMD approach, we are more like play based school, or maybe it's like what kind of kids actually dyslexic, autism, ADHD, and what suits them most. And then depending upon them, we take our call, and then we do our research, we do our study on them, and then we will uh, involve the parent being a partner in their learning and teaching, as we know that the primary caregiver are the first teacher, and then like the second teacher, which is the nature, we go in there and then we learn through them, and we will teach like vice versa, right? Yeah.
Very good. Yes, Asta?
Yes, ma'am. So I think we can just be, this can be a very good way of a non-verbal expression for them. So, in other words, we can help them find a way to vent out. So, to express their emotions, first we will understand their requirement, of course, and then they to make them more self-aware about it, and then this will on a gradually we will be scaffolding them to reduce their stress, anxiety, and very creatively we will be taking them towards the building confidence, self-esteem, and of course with help of their parents, and by we and parents and the child also being mindful about it.
Yes. Others? Thank you. Thank you, Renu. Yes, others, please share what is your takeaway from this session today?
Ma'am, I would like to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understood like through play therapy, the repetitive play practice will also make the child self healing, which
Yes.
it is the best thing with the storytelling. And also play therapy like sandplay, as you said, two different houses, we can observe more clearly what the child is feeling, what he's feeling or she's feeling and going through. So with the observation, I can connect like what kind of storytelling they also need. So that thing I good takeaway. And the different types of children ADHD and autism, we are all, really we are confused, because nowadays many ads and everything is coming autistic child, ADHD. But we don't know, we think that this is something very different. A child is, what our level used to be. Now it is very common. So now I can understand like what is ADHD. If some child is there, I can literally like send person thoda sa to mujhe samajh mein aayega he is ADHD. Okay. So I can console the parents also that yes, we can do the as ma'am said, the other primary givers. So that kind of takeaway. Good. It was a nice session.
Thank you. Yes, Nabila?
Oh yes, ma'am. It was a nice session, ma'am. And I would like to define. First of all, we have to know about what kind of children we are dealing with. We
Yes.
have to identify if they are introvert or extrovert. It will help to improve in teaching and skills also. It will very useful for me, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Then we have to use intro if their students are introvert, we have to use musical therapy. Otherwise, if they are in
Art
extrovert,
form is also for introvert.
art form, and sand doodle and play and many activities we have given for
Yes.
them.
Thank you, Nanika.
Ma'am, it is very simple, ma'am. Twice I had got the two students that were having ADHD, but I refused to teach that student. Now, but I know what I can do with them. I can engage them in physical activities. One more student has came, but I put him in nursery just because I can't handle that student. But now I got the solution, so I will try to do some activities with him. Even I will tell that teacher to make him engage in outdoor activities, physical activities, because this is the third child which I am facing till now in my class. Two times I refused that child, I will not able to handle. But now I will try to do something for that child. Definitely, I will do something.
Wow. That is such a big reward for me. Um, that's actually, we need to understand that every child is different, but we just have to see that difference, and accordingly we have to strategize and work. Yeah.
For him, I used to close the doors and keep because he was not able to sit in my class. I close the door and make him sit in the class. But now I understand he needs to go outside more. He can't sit in one place. So I
Yes.
will do that.
Great. Yes, others, please. It is going to help me like to believe in the session which I took. If you share, because this is the first session I have took on this topic, so your feedback is going to help me to understand. Thank you, Nabila. Yeah. Radha and Neelam, would you like to share? Okay. So please share your feedbacks in written as well. That was going to help me to understand what more can be done. Yeah. Good night. Okay. Thank you.
Good night. Yeah.